All right, welcome back to the show, everyone. Hope you all are having a good day so far. Wanted to check on this video from Johnny Arnett, which is a simple titled video. Michael Jordan if he retired only once. So I'm assuming that this video is going to be going through a format of, and I've gotten this wrong before when it comes to formats, but I assume it's going to be Michael Jordan never retires after the first repeat, never retires in 98, and plays all the way to, 2003, and then finally retires. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm sure you guys can tell my voice is still a little shot. I have been sick. I can't blame allergies anymore. I've had something, I don't know what it is. It's still lingering on, and for the most part I'm feeling okay, but my voice and like everything nasal wise is just a train wreck right now. So if I sniff, if I cough, if I sneeze, hey, I'm sorry, but I'm gonna try to keep this afloat for now. Anyways, everyone, if you guys haven't checked out Johnny Arnett's channel, obviously I highly recommend it. I've covered so many of his vids at this point, it's almost weird. So I gotta switch it up a little. But I'm linking the original video down below in the description for you guys if you want to check out the channel. And like I said, I highly recommend it. And if you're not convinced, you probably will be after this video. Everyone, please leave this video a like. It helps out a ton. And off we go onto the greatest basketball YouTube intro, in my opinion, in the market. And the coolest fadeaway. I don't know what it is. It looks so smooth from that angle.
Michael Jordan is widely recognized as the greatest icon in basketball history.
Hell, sports history.
Naturally, surrounding his legacy is a series of major what-ifs. One of the biggest reasons for this is not because of his popularity alone, but it's because he did something that very, very few players ever do. He retired from the game of basketball on 3 separate occasions. Due to this, people are left to wonder, would Michael Jordan's Bulls have won 8 straight championships if he never retired in 1993 to go play baseball?
It's a hard question.
People wonder if MJ could have defeated the San Antonio Spurs in the 1999 finals. And lastly, people assume that Michael Jordan would be the NBA's all-time scoring leader if he never took all of those breaks.
All-time scoring leader, I do believe. I'm curious what he's going to do when it comes to the championships, because, I mean, we got to be real. Eventually, the Bulls were going to lose one. They had to. You know, they had to have run out of gas at some point. They were getting tired in 93. Could they have won one more? Maybe, but they would probably have to lose on the 5th one. I don't know, but I'm curious what Johnny has to say.
But just how accurate are some of those assumptions? Obviously, I don't have a crystal ball, and there's no way we can say for certain how things would have gone. But with that being said, we do have a lot of information and data that can lead us to make some educated guesses on how this all would have panned out. So sit back and enjoy as I break down what history could have looked like if Michael Jordan only retired from the game of basketball just once.
Let's do it, man. Let's do it.
First off, Michael Jordan entered the NBA at the age of 21 in 1984, and he didn't leave the game for the final time until he was 40 years old in 2003. So in this scenario, this will be the length of his completed career, which will be a grand total of 19 seasons in the NBA.
Okay.
Now let's start by looking at his first retirement in 1993. MJ's Bulls were coming off of their 3rd straight championship victory, and surrounding that 3rd run was controversy about Jordan's gambling habits. And then that was soon followed up by the tragic passing of his father. MJ talked about the fact that he was physically and mentally tired, and in honor of his father, he decided to pursue another dream, and that was to play baseball. If he didn't make that decision, then he likely would have been a part of the deepest Bulls roster that they've ever had, as the organization added quality pieces like Steve Kerr, Tony Kukoc, and Luke Longley.
Yeah, so at that point he had both Pax and Kerr. And then I mean, I'll stick with these two because I'm thinking about gunslingers, but BJ can hit that corner three as well.
while keeping all of their starters from the previous three-peat.
Not to mention Tony Kukoc.
Despite insane seasonal averages, Jordan only finished third in the MVP race in the 1993 season, and a lot of people believe that this was a result of voter fatigue.
Oh, for sure it was.
Since MJ had won the 2 MVP awards prior to that. In reality,
yeah, they did to him like what we're doing to Jokic nowadays, where it's like, yeah, we can't give it to you every year.
93 to 94 Chicago Bulls won 55 regular season games without Michael Jordan. Now with him in the lineup, I think it's fair to assume that they're winning at least 65 games.
Yeah.
And with Jordan coming off of a season where he was held back by voter fatigue, I think he would have easily won the League MVP award in 1994. The 1994 NBA Finals would have been a colossal battle between Jordan's Bulls and Hakeem Olajuwon's Rockets.
What was those stats I just saw? Wednesday versus Cleveland, a 28-point triple-double. Dang.
Finals would have been a colossal battle between Jordan's Bulls and Hakeem Olajuwon's Rockets. Although Hakeem was a difficult matchup for the Bulls, I still think Chicago easily prevails in this scenario, since it's the deepest team that they've ever had, and that Rockets team went to 7 hard-fought games with the New York Knicks.
That right there is that's the key. Considering how difficult it was for them to beat the Knicks, yeah, I think the Bulls would have won this one.
And this hypothetical Bulls team would have been way more formidable than those Knicks. So as things stand in this what-if scenario so far, Jordan would have won an additional League MVP award, an additional championship, and an additional Finals MVP award. So now let's look
Okay, now this gets messed up though, because we got the team that beat the Bulls. Well, you know, even though that has its stipulations, the Orlando Magic, but that Orlando Magic team gets swept by the Rockets. However, when the Bulls were actually full powered, they swept that same Orlando team. So it's like it's a coin flip.
At the 94 to 95 season. In reality, you all remember how this was the season where Jordan came back to the NBA after a stint in baseball, where he only played in 17 games of the NBA's regular season. Although Jordan was still lethal, he was not performing up to his usual standards, since he was still in his baseball shape. Now with a full season where he never left the game of basketball, Jordan is almost certainly performing at a higher level throughout.
The only thing to work against him at this point would be massive fatigue. Winning 4 championships in a row, and one of those summers going to the Olympics and winning gold. Like, he's got to be tired at this point.
With that being said, this still would have been a tougher season on Chicago, because the general wear and tear of 4 straight seasons playing into June would have been taking its toll physically.
Great minds think alike, sir.
This was the season where Horace Grant left in free agency to join the Orlando Magic. If we assume that Grant still leaves in free agency for that massive Orlando contract, then the Bulls are now lacking his inside production on the offensive end, and they're also lacking his interior defense on the other end. I broke this all down in detail in a previous video.
Yeah.
But in short, I think the Bulls lose in the finals in 1995.
You know, as crazy as it is, I think I have to agree. I think they run out of gas at this point, and then they come back with a vengeance the next year. Because not only physically you run out of gas, but Michael Jordan, when he retired, he did state it clear that I don't feel that challenge anymore. You know, like he feels like he doesn't have anything left to prove. So after winning 4, he really wouldn't feel like he's got much left to prove, you know? So he would almost have to lose in order to get hungry again to prove to the world that he's the greatest. I know it sounds crazy, but I never would have thought that way about anyone until the Bulls lost in 95 to the Orlando Magic, and to see how that flipped the switch in him, that's what I think would need to happen.
Jordan also doesn't win a league MVP this season, since voter fatigue would re-enter the situation, and David Robinson would still be a strong candidate as the leader of the 62-win San Antonio Spurs.
Yeah.
So now we assume that the 96, 97, and 98 season plays out exactly how it did before, as MJ added yet another three-peat and several more MVP trophies.
That's cool. So far, we're eye to eye on this. That is how I'd see it. Yeah. He'd win 4, drop 1, win another 3. And then I think they could have won one more. Actually, I think they could have won. They could have done 2 4-peats with 1 loss in between. Jordan really, really still wanted to go at the end of 98. He did not want this to end. He wanted to defend his title.
Now, as we all can recall, in reality, Jordan retired for a second time at the end of the 1998 season. And the reason for this was because the Bulls general manager Jerry Krause fired Phil Jackson, regardless of the fact that he just led them to 3 straight titles.
It's funny. This is the 90s. Guys got to watch. Other guys looking, hey, what's his watch say? It's so different now. It's so different now with everyone's smartphones. Like, hey, what movie you watching over there? Back then, it was just like, I'm bored. There's nothing around here. What time is it? Let me look at this guy's watch.
Titles. In Jordan's own words, he was unwilling to play for Chicago if they had any other coach other than Phil Jackson.
Yeah.
But if MJ didn't have this mindset and decided to stay for a chance at another ring without Jackson, how would that have played out? Well, not terribly well, in my opinion.
I mean, there's also, well, I guess we have to go with the format, and Phil Jackson does leave. But that's crazy, though, because then we have to go with the format that everybody leaves, you know, except for Michael Jordan. And that's not fair. Would this Phil Jackson situation have happened if Jordan never left? That's what I wonder. Because we know that Jerry he expected Jordan to be gone and not to come back. I'm talking 94. So he got that itch of, I'm going to build another championship team without Jordan. Would that have ever happened if Jordan never left to spark that excitement in Jerry? Though, you know what I mean? If they were just constantly winning championships, no need to rebuild. Would that have happened? I don't know. We'll never know.
At this point, the age of the Bulls core was beginning to show, as MJ would be 36, Scottie Pippen would be 33, and then Dennis Rodman would have been 37. Also consider how the lack of Jackson's leadership on the bench and in the locker room would affect this team.
Okay, if they're dealing with a new coach at this point, after winning 3 championships, I don't know. I don't know if they could win another one right away. They might need a year.
Phil was instrumental in managing the egos of this squad.
Yep, he was.
And managing the relationship between the players and the executives. All of this pressure and responsibility would have now fell on their rookie head coach, Tim Floyd, who was not suited to manage those players, especially in the case of Dennis Rodman, who in reality did have an epic fallout with the Lakers in the 1999 season. Even with all of these issues, there's still a chance that the Bulls make it to the NBA Finals in 1999, since the Eastern Conference was not all that strong that season, considering how the 8th-seeded New York Knicks was the team that ended up representing the East. But if the Bulls did make it to the Finals in 1999, I have a hard time seeing them as a tired and older squad without Jackson getting past a powerful San Antonio Spurs team, who were strongest where the Bulls were at their weakest, which was the painted area. Ultimately, I think the Bulls would have fallen way short of the championship in 1999. But it is Michael Jordan we're talking about, so you can never write him off completely.
I know, it's hard. It's hard.
After the 98...
I don't know if I agree with you, but without Phil, that first year, I do imagine things starting to fall apart a little because, you know, like you mentioned with Dennis Rodman, that was... Like Dennis Rodman needed Phil Jackson, Michael Jordan, and Scottie Pippen. Like that was his family support system to keep things kind of calm. He was still wild as hell, but nothing compared to what he was without them. So I don't know. It's a hard one. That's a hard coin flip. What the hell would have happened? I don't know. Because you're right. They still got MJ. So anything is possible.
To 99 season is where things get really weird and become basically impossible to predict. By that year, Rodman was a shell of his former self, and would only play 12 games of the regular season before his retirement.
And it wasn't for lack of skill, by the way, though. If you see, hold on, that's really
Although
bright.
Scottie Pippen...
If you saw his numbers, even with Dallas, dude was getting like 15 to 20 rebounds a game. It was just nobody could keep him... What I want to say, I don't want to say like keep him controlled, but you know what I mean. Like there was nobody out there who had his back, who would say like, "Hey, Dennis, stop," or pull him away from the drama. You know what I mean? Nobody had his back like that, like they did in Chicago, because he would try these crazy antics in Chicago, but you'd see MJ or Scotty right there, immediately pulling at his jersey, getting him away. But so he wouldn't be as wild as he was out there in LA and Dallas if he still had Jordan and Pippen to lean on. But not having Phil, that's a big one. That is a big one.
And was still competitive, he was reduced to a 12 points per game role player rather than a 20 points per game sidekick. If Jordan was to remain
Scotty,
with the
that's also because Scotty's not meant to be a lead. He's not meant to be a number one. But if Scotty was still playing with MJ and he still got those open looks, then I think he could still get to like 18 points a game. Easy.
Bulls for the 2000 and 2001 season, I think it's fair to assume that Jerry Krause would have tried to retool the team and make some major trades to give MJ a contending supporting cast.
Let's be real, he would have tried to trade Scotty for T-Mac, but have actually done it. But he tried it, he already did try it, and MJ vetoed it, so I don't know.
But given the age and the physical shape of the assets, I kind of doubt that he could have pulled that off. Plus, this was the era of the Shaq and Kobe dynasty, so there's no realistic way that we can expect the Bulls to compete with that Los Angeles three-peat squad.
But that Los Angeles, this is how it gets so complicated, man. Because that was Phil Jackson. Phil Jackson going to the Lakers that turned that thing around. So we're saying they're going against Phil Jackson's team. That's rough.
Then MJ does his couple seasons in Washington, and his career is all wrapped up in the summer of 2003. So at the end of Michael's career, if he had never retired, he would have had 7 championship rings instead of 6. He would have had 7 finals MVPs instead of 6, and he would have had 6 league MVPs instead of 5, tying him with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar for the most in NBA history.
All right, well, we're close. I'm torn between he would win 7 or he'd win 8. I don't know. I feel like he'd grab one more in there somehow.
He would also have a 7 out of 9 NBA Finals record, which certainly isn't as clean as 6-0, but it is more success overall.
Yeah.
But what about his scoring records? Because that's a lot more time in the NBA. Well, in reality, at the end of Jordan's career, he had a grand total of 32,292 points, which currently has him in the 5th spot on the NBA's all-time scoring list. So let's get started by trying to estimate what Jordan would average in his first 2 seasons after his retirement. First, we need to subtract Jordan's 457 points in his 1995 season from his grand total, since he will instead be playing in the entire season.
Got average 30.
Well, in the 4 years that Michael Jordan was playing in the triangle offense leading up to his first retirement, he was averaging 2,569 points per season. Considering his age at the time, I think it's fair to assume that MJ would have maintained this pace in 1994 and in 1995.
Easily. Which
means that we need to add 5,138 points to his career total. That gives him 36,973. Now we need to add the 99, 2000, and 2001 season. In his 3 seasons leading up to 1999, Jordan was playing all 82 games, while his points per game averages continued to decrease by just under 1 point per season. If we assumed that this trend would continue and adjust for his lockout-shortened 1999 season, then he would have theoretically scored another 5,728 points over that 3-season stretch, which now brings his grand total to 42,701 points. This would make him the all-time leading scorer ahead of LeBron James, although LeBron could still potentially catch Jordan, depending on how long he's willing to play. When you consider the fact that MJ played 3 seasons in college, while LeBron entered the NBA straight out of high school, it really gives you some perspective on just how insane Jordan's scoring actually was. So at the end of the day, 7 championships, 7 finals MVPs, 6 league MVPs, 11 first team all-defensive selections, the NBA's all-time leading scorer, and most people would be calling him the GOAT. So I guess not much really changes on that front.
That's true.
So what do you guys think? How would Jordan's career have played out if he had only retired once? I look forward to hearing your thoughts in the comments section below. Thanks for watching as always. Make sure to like and subscribe for more basketball content, and I'll see you guys in the next video.
Good vid. Alright, you guys convinced to go subscribe over there yet? Because that's some good stuff right there. As far as legacy goes, I don't imagine much would have changed. I think he would be known as the greatest of all time, just like he is now. And not much else would have changed. It's just a matter of, like, for me, like, what would have made him happier. And I kind of feel like the journey he went on, playing baseball, then coming back and all that, coming back, rejuvenated. I think that's how he wanted it and how he still wants it, That's his story. His story is different than anybody else. And he was able to come and go from basketball and continuously just be the best out there. And I think it's pretty awesome to be able to leave and come back and to still be the greatest. But yeah, as far as the points, I can't argue with. The championships, man, I'm like right there with you. Like, I agree with you, but I have this thing where I think Jordan would have figured one more out somehow. I also don't think if he never retired, there's no way in hell he's playing for Washington. You know what I mean? Because that only happened because he got into ownership out there, and or whatever. He was what was he? He was in charge of basketball operations out there, I guess is the term. But if he never retired, then no way in hell would he be playing for Washington. So if we kept the whole squad together, minus Phil Jackson, I still feel like he would have won one more. He would have found a way to win one more. They would have got him some help. They would have done something out there. But yeah, that's a small difference here. And I'm not even 100% like confident in saying it. So I think me and you were pretty dead on as far as how it would have gone. And that's why I always, I argue with a lot of people my age about it. But I'm like, I like the way his story is. He was the best individual player in the 80s. In the 90s, he climbed the mountain, won 3 in a row. Then he went to go play freaking baseball to go honor his father for a while. Saw the Bulls were struggling. They lacked leadership in the playoffs against the Knicks without him. And then they were crumbling the following year in 95, 96. They were terrible. So he was like, all right, let me go help out my guys. Helped them out, won 3 more championships, walked away again, and he walked away for the coolest reason, because they were going to fire his coach. And he demanded that you don't fire my coach, especially after we're about to win 6 championships with this guy. You don't fire him and rebuild around me. That's not cool. We're winning championships. So he was like, fine. You call my bluff, I'm out. It's wild because, yeah, I know, like, people are so addicted to stats and stuff nowadays that if he had more numbers, whatever, that works for the case of like, no, he's the GOAT because look at the numbers. But I don't know, man. I think he's pretty content with the way his story went. So I always try to like keep that in mind. And I'm like, well, if he's happy with it, I'm happy with it too, because I got to enjoy every second of it. So what the hell am I complaining for? But yeah. It'll always be a wonder what would happen if Michael Jordan never retired. We'll never freaking know, but I think this is about as accurate as it gets. Question for you guys. If Michael Jordan never retired after the 93 championship year, after that first three-peat, Do you think Phil Jackson ever gets fired? Do you think that ego battle between Phil and Jerry ever gets to the point where Jerry has to fire him, even though he's winning championships? I wonder, because I have a feeling like it wouldn't have happened. But whatever happened that year and a half without Jordan in there, I think that changed a lot of things. I think it did. So, all right. With that, I'm out of here. Sorry for my voice, guys. Hopefully on the next one it's not so hoarse, but no promises. I'll just do my best to, to keep healthy here. But thank you very much for watching, everyone. I appreciate you all. Looking forward to talking to you in the comments, seeing what you guys have to say. And like the vid if you liked it. Subscribe if you want more content like this. And hit that bell if you want to get notified for the next one. Everyone, thank you for watching. Have a wonderful, peaceful day. And peace out.